What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Big ups to all of my subscribers. Again, all of you who have been supporting me, supporting my platform, my channel. I thank y'all for the positive emails that y'all be sending me. Thank y'all so much for sharing the video, and liking the video. I've been getting a lot of subscribers to come over here lately, so that's been subscribing to my channel. And again, I have to thank each and every one of y'all for that, because I know I'm not doing it by myself. So again, I definitely want to appreciate y'all. If you didn't check out my last 2 uploads, be sure you do. I did an upload 3 days ago on observing a woman's character, not her color, because again, it's far too many people that are focusing on finding a potential mate based on their skin color instead of their character. And it's very important that if you're potentially seeking a relationship, that you don't pick a woman or a man based on their skin color, but based on their character. Also did an upload yesterday. Michael Jordan has crossed over, and guess who's mad? A lot of the brothers are not very happy that Michael B. Jordan decided to cross over and be with a black woman. He was considered a high value man because he was dating non-colored women, and apparently the brothers have an issue with that. And also the black women are celebrating the fact that Michael B. Jordan has crossed over, not understanding that just because one black woman was able to get lucky and pull a high value man, it does not mean that that same fate will also play out for them. So please be sure that you check out my last 2 uploads if you have not done so, or if you haven't been notified. So moving right along, I decided to do this recipe, this content today, because I've heard more than one black male content creator address it. They stated it's not any sisters who have been addressing black women who have been partaking in what's called ghetto gagging porn. So I said, well, since I looked around and I went to a couple of sisters on platforms, and sure enough, a lot of brothers was right. There's not too many black women that are addressing this issue. They're not hitting up on it. So I said, well, I'm going to do my research, and I'm going to go ahead and take the stand and approach this particular situation at hand. So for those of you who are not porn watchers, if porn is not your thing, this may be very foreign to you. You may not know too much about it, understandably, because everybody's not into porn. But those of you who are into porn, you may be very familiar with this. So before I go deeper into this particular content, if you do have any children around, or if you have children that are underage, or if you're the type of person you don't like to listen to raw graphic footage, then this may not be the type of content you would like to hear, because I have to tell it how it is. I have to tell it exactly for what it is, because again, a lot of people do not watch this, and because they do not watch porn, I have to be very graphic. I'm going to have to be very explicit, so I may not even get monetized for this particular content, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But we're going to talk about this ghetto gagging porn. And if I stop in between y'all, that's because I'm sipping on my cappuccino, my pumpkin spice cappuccino. So just bear with me and just kind of go with the flow. So I want to go into this term used called ghetto gag. So for all my non-porn watchers, that's probably a very foreign word to you. You probably have no goddamn idea what is ghetto gagging. And honestly, I had an idea, but I wanted to be very specific and make sure I knew what I was talking about, so I had to look it up. So the definition, and we're going to go into the different definitions of gagging, ghetto gagging, or whatever. Ghetto gagging, based on the Urban Dictionary, which is the Black Dictionary. Let me make sure I click on it. While receiving head, known as a blowjob or fellatio, you grab the female by the back of her head and ram your cock down her throat, causing her to gag, similar to throat ucking. Okay, so I got to keep this rated G and rated X at the same time, but it's a surprise to her. She doesn't expect it. To put in a sentence, I ghetto gagged that hoe until she was choking and couldn't breathe. Then I nut down her throat. So that's what basically ghetto gagging means. Meaning that if you are performing oral sex on a man, and instead of him kind of preparing you, he pushes your head down further and causes his wood to go further down your throat than you're prepared, and it causes you to gag. Because again, women who specialize in giving blowjobs or head, they have trained their throats to be able to handle deep throating, as they call it. So some women have been doing this so long to the point to where they have stretched and extended their throats regardless of the size of the man's penis. So that's why when you watch these porn videos and you see a lot of these female porn actresses, they can deep throat and they don't gag as often as a female that's an amateur and is not used to giving head regularly. The professional porn star, she would not gag as much because again, she's used to multiple penises going down her throat. So her throat is trained. Her throat has extended to where she does not gag as much. But that is what ghetto gagging is to y'all who are not familiar with it. Now, what is a ghetto gagger? Okay, because before we go into the content, we have to understand the basics of what this consists of, or else it's not going to make any sense. It's going to be pointless, and me doing this content, and a lot of people are not clear on these basic terms. So, who is the ghetto gagger? An underprivileged black woman or man, but in this case is mostly black women who perform oral sex and gags on the male genitalia. Using a sentence, that hoe was a ghetto gagger. Okay, so that's basically what that means. Now, what is a gagger? A relatively large amount of powder substance, usually cocaine, that when inhaled will give the inhaler a choking sensation due particulate matter irritating air passages in the throat and lungs. Okay, so I guess this is in relation to, I guess, drugs, but it's kind of same alignment because it's saying that basically the air passages in the throat and the lungs feel some type of slight irritation or whatever, so that's what causes the gagging or whatever. So but I guess that particular word is more so pertaining to those who use drugs, but nevertheless, moving right along. Okay, so that's basically what ghetto gagging is. Like I said, you know what ghetto gagging is. When you ghetto gag, that means a guy forces you to deep throat him, and if you're a ghetto gagger, you're basically a black woman who performs oral sex and gags on the male genitalia. So all this relates into the content that I'm going to be going into, talking about ghetto gagging. There's basically a porn site. There's a couple of porn sites on YouTube. I'm sorry, I apologize. There's absolutely no porn sites on YouTube. Not as much as they be flagging up stuff around here. I'm sure if they were to allow that, I mean, you think we got some problems because, you know, we have a lot of pervs on YouTube. So, you know, definitely disregard that statement. What I meant to say was, there's a lot of ghetto gagging porn. In social media, is not too many places you can go on social media and not find porn. This is the reason why the porn industry is pretty much suffering to a certain degree, because you used to have to buy videos, you used to have to buy DVD, and you do have some people who still invest in the porn industry. They still buy DVDs, whatever, and CDs, or they still do a lot of live streaming. A lot of these streaming apps. It's some streaming porn apps, where they can stream a lot of porn. So the porn industry has been, practically, suffering a little bit, because again, this internet, all you gotta do is go on Google, type in, hey, how to give head, or black ebony sex, or whatever, lesbian sex, gay sex, whatever, any type of sex you want to find is only a click away, because again, everything's on internet now. Back in the 80s, I'll say 90s, you had to buy porn. You had to go in the porn store, okay? You had to actually go into a porn establishment. But because of internet, everything is just porn is easily accessible, which is why the porn industry for a lot of porn actors and actresses is not popping as much as it used to back in the day. I mean, it's still doing good, evidently, because a lot of them are getting paid through internet. I mean, the more people watching it, they get paid for every time somebody's uploading or downloading their video. But it's still not receiving as much income, because again, it's so much free porn available. And guess what? People are going to go where stuff is free. People can go on the internet and type in the porn they want to see before they go to a video store or one of these porn novelty shops and pay damn $30-$40 for a DVD, for a porn DVD or anything. You get what I'm saying? So I wanted us to really break down the elements of this ghetto gagging porn, because again, not many sisters have been speaking on this, and I had to go look into it, unfortunately. And when I say I've seen some porn in my lifetime, and I get it, porn consists of the basics. The man gives the woman head, then the woman gives the man head, okay? Then they do it missionary style, then they do it doggy style, then they, we all know the basic positions when it comes to watching porn videos. But when I say this is a whole nother level of porn like no other, you would have to have a stomach to really watch this level of porn, okay? To me, this type of porn is not the type of porn I would consider something that would sexually stimulate you, but it will sexually turn you off, unless you are one of those type of individuals where you really have a sick mind. Your brain is really far out there, then you may be stimulated by this type of porn. But this type of porn is very, very degrading. Like I said, I had to do my research in order for me to talk about it. So nevertheless, I went on Google and I typed in ghetto gagging. So when I checked out a couple of these sites and I previewed some of these videos, my stomach could only tolerate maybe 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 5. I had to at least watch it for 5 minutes so I could at least give y'all a real full detail on what ghetto gagging consists of. So as I'm watching this porn, there's one particular one. Now what I notice when it comes to this porn, they'll sit these females down like it's an interview. Okay, so I'm going to go into the one that I saw. So basically what happened was, you can tell it was this low budget, definitely below average black female. She was not that pretty. She wasn't an ugly woman, but she wasn't an ugly female, but she was basic, beyond below average. Okay, brown skin, heavy set, just average, And basically she's sitting on a sofa, and I hear these two guys that are interviewing her, and you can tell by the tone of their voice that they were white men. Okay, and they were interviewing her and asking her questions, asking her what type of positions has she done, what type of position she likes to do, and she's sitting up there, I mean, genuinely replying back to them like this was a goddamn interview at Walmart. like she's sharing her experience. So the interview didn't last too long. You know, they made sure they cut right to the chase, and I can tell the reason they did the interview was because they knew they was getting ready to rough her up, and they didn't want her screaming rape or I was forced to do this against my will. You can tell that they set it up like that. So, you know, based on what they was getting ready to do, you would think she wouldn't agree to being sexually roughed up in the manner that they roughed up in. Nevertheless, after the interview was done, the interview probably wasn't no longer than 10 seconds. You could tell she was already down because she was already undressed and sitting on the sofa. Everything was out, tits, ass, whatever. And as soon as the interview was done, they started going in immediately. One of these men, like I said, you can tell both of them was white. He looked like he could have been every bit of 60, 70 years old. To me, he looked like a Nazi. I can just tell by his tattoos and everything that he's definitely a racist. And you could tell he was a racist based on the symbols that was tatted on his body. And when I said he literally went to ramming his sister in her mouth with his wood, he went to ramming her in her mouth. Okay? Didn't give her no time to stimulate, get wet or anything or whatever. So, and I get it, you know, he wasn't making love to her. He was basically banging her. And there's a difference between a man making love to your body and a man that's banging you. And when a man is just basically banging you, he's not going to, or he just wants to screw you, he's not going to take the time to make sure your body is mentally stimulated. Basically he doesn't readily prepare your body for penetration. So basically he starts ramming on her throat. And when he started penetrating her throat with his genitalia, because I got to say these words in a in almost like a high school type of term way, because YouTube is very funny. So if I sound a little corny today, it is what it is. There's certain words I just cannot say because I don't want them red flag in my channel. So basically he's ramming her in her throat while she's laid back. Her head is her head is laid back on the arm of the sofa. And basically what he did was he basically stood on top of her. Both of his legs was over her head while he's taking his man meat and basically piercing down her throat. Okay, so he's like a woman standing over her with both his legs open, and he's just drilling her throat as if like he's drilling a vagina, but he's doing it to her throat. And when I said he did not give her, he barely gave her any time to like recuperate from the throat penetrating. What ended up happening was, because she was not able to relieve, being that her throat was basically consistently being penetrated. You know, even when you eat food, it comes a point where you have to give yourself time to digest that food or you will gag. So what ended up happening was she started gagging excessively. And at this point, you can see the saliva is fuming out of her mouth. Okay? So what he would do was he would take it out for like 2 seconds and shove her head back like she was a wet dog and stick it right back in her throat, and he's throat pounding again with his penis. Okay? So in between, you can hear her gagging. You can hear and it wasn't a pleasurable gagging. Okay? It was a torturous, like torment gagging. And you can tell she realized she bit off more than she could chew. Okay, now meanwhile she's getting filmed while this guy is throat pounding her. Okay, so what he ends up doing, he pulls himself out and he makes her lay down on the sofa, like, you know, the seat to a sofa, the part where people actually sit on. What he did was he made her position herself to where her back was laying on the part that you sit on, and her legs was on the part where that supports your back of the sofa. Okay, where you lean back and your back touches the back of the sofa, her legs, her thighs was arched up. Was arched up to the back of the sofa. Okay, so what he did was basically her head, from her neck to her head, that was hanging off the edge of the seat of the sofa. All right, so what he did was, once again, he stood over her and he squatted down and he put his man meat down her throat, and what he did was he was bouncing himself up and down in her throat. Okay, like, you know how, you know those big old balls that those kids love to play with, the balls that come with the handle, and you know how Walmart and these places used to have the big old balls in the bin, and how people get on the ball and bounce up and down the aisle, you know, playing on the big old huge ball. And basically that's what he was doing. He was using her head as a ball. Now, to make it more interesting, what he did, right, while he's standing over her with his legs open, and he squatted literally on her face with his man meat down her throat, and he's penetrating, going in and out her throat, which gives him full control of the penetration now, because again, from her neck to her head, there's no support, right? So let me tell you what he did. What he did was he took two of his hands while he's on top of her, and he cuffed the back of her neck, right? So while he cuffed the back of her neck, he basically was pushing her head up and down as he was penetrating in and out of her throat. So you could imagine that meant she had like absolutely no control over the amount of intensity that he was basically penetrating, and she had no control over the penetrating. So she was not able, like, you know, for instance, if a female is giving a guy fellatio, and if the female is on top of whatever, she has room to kind of, when she feels like she needs to gag, she can pull her head back for a second or two and continue with what she was doing. And in this case, because he had full control and he was cuffing the back of her head, then he had all his body weight on top of her face. She had no type of breathing room to get around not gagging. So basically, you know, he was taking the back of her head, and like I said, he was pushing her head more into his penis, to where it caused him to penetrate her throat severely throughout the whole course. And I can say this probably went on for 20-30 minutes. In between, while he's doing this, he realizes he has to let her, you know, breathe for a second or two. And when I say literally a second or two, he will pull out, and while he's pulling out, he's calling her degrading names. He's telling her, take that dick, bitch. This and that. This, you know, you hoe, you this, you that, you know. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is just terrible, right? So in between, in between the gagging session, when he would allow her, because, you know, you got to spit that stuff out, you know, especially the position she in, she could choke off of his nut, you know what I mean? Because again, even when you eat regular food, you know what I mean, you have to give yourself time to digest. The food has to actually make it down your throat. If it's not if the food doesn't fully come all the way down your throat, then it causes you to gag and it causes you to choke. So he knows in between the gagging, he has to allow her to spit some of that stuff out. Now let me tell you what dude did. While she was spitting, you know, his fluid out onto the carpet, onto the floor. Let me tell you what this joker did. Oh my God. When he turned her around so he could get her from the back, he literally shoved her face all in the fluid that she had spit on the floor. And you can tell he did it intentionally, because when he put her left face, now while he's getting it from the back doggy style, while her face was turned left all in the fluid, he took the back of her head and snatched it right, so her right side could get all the fluid on the right side of her face. And meanwhile, she has all of the stuff all over her face, okay, that she spit up, and he's still banging her from the back like she's a stray dog, like she's trash. Okay, so this, like I said, this type of porn was very degrading. Now, after he got done doing whatever he was doing, at the end, he's told her to repeat after him, I enjoyed being ghetto gagged. And you could tell she could barely breathe. And she was like, I enjoyed being ghetto gagged. She could barely goddamn talk. But I know why he did that. He made her say that, so she can't say she was raped or whatever. But to me, it was not rape, because she agreed evidently. But the act itself looked like rape. But we knew it wasn't rape. It looked like rape because, again, there was no pleasure in it. There was nothing sexually stimulating. You can just tell they was treating her like the NIGGA that they perceived her to be. It was like slavery sex in a sense, you know. Not only did I see some ghetto gagging with white men doing this to black women, there was a lot of brothers who also was doing this to black women. They was doing the same thing. Roughing them up, you know, making them gag, you know, forcing them to deep throat, to the point to where the woman was literally throwing up. I've seen a couple of ones to where some of these females was literally throwing up, and these dudes was smushing their face in their own throw up. You know, it just was really, really terrible. Only thing I say, when y'all get a chance, y'all gotta look at it. Me describing it and y'all totally seeing it is two totally different things. But I will tell you, you got to have a stomach. So, are you tired of, like, I mean, it just really goes to show you the level of low self-esteem that a lot of us have as black women. Self-esteem so low to the point that we are willing to get yelled and abused at men, white men at that. We're willing to get yelled and abused at them, while basically they are banging the hell out of us. Banging the hell out of these chicks, while these white guys are verbally and physically abusing them. Like I said, this porn, this ghetto gagging porn, is nothing like ebony porn. Ebony porn showed a little appreciation for the curves of black women back then, instead of treating them like just straight trash. But with this ghetto gaggers, if you want to see black women that are being degraded and yelled at, and treated like slaves on the plantation, getting screwed by their masters, then the ghetto gagging will definitely be up to your liking. It'll definitely be something you would enjoy. Now, watching this type of porn gave me a strong indication why a lot of black men perceive black women the way that they do. Because, you know, it's unfortunate that you have some sisters around here who like to try to act all high and mighty, like they are worth of value, like they are queens, but then behind closed doors, they're doing peasant things. And I'm telling you, to all the black women out there, this ghetto gagging thing really has us looking really reckless right now. So, let me get more into ghetto gagging. Ghetto gaggers shows black women getting screwed by white guys with racy overtones. These hood rats get screwed by some thick white cocks. Watch as they're forced to deep throat Caucasian white meat. These girls can take it though, and they slob on the knob like good girls. It isn't long before they're getting pounded by some white man meat and some of the roughest sex scenes you'll find anywhere. These chicks are totally dominated by the white meat getting shoved down deep inside of them. Each finishes with a big load to their face. None of these girls look that enthusiastic about the process, but that's really not the point. Most of the girls on the site seem to be amateurs or at least new to the porn business, and I noticed that. They're not terribly experienced and don't have the typical porn star look. True. It's possible they're just picked up off the street and offered some cash to be pounded by a white guy. Some are foxy as hell, but they're all pretty ghetto. There are over 325 scenes on Ghetto Gaggers with a new update every week. Each scene comes with a video that can be streamed or downloaded. The newer updates are available in HD. Every scene also comes with a picture gallery. However, downloading pictures as zips doesn't seem to be an option. So when you join Ghetto Gaggers, you also get access to 11 other sites. Okay, so anyway, I read some of the comments on those who did watch and reviewed some of these ghetto gag scenes. So I'm gonna just read a couple of these comments so all of y'all are kind of, those of y'all who are not familiar with ghetto gagging, you know, you have a better indication as to what it is. Somebody puts this person's called Anonymous. I'm 22 and black. I like the site in a sick way. I'm a Scorpio, so I'm a bit extreme. No, you don't speak for all Scorpios, because I'm one. But anyway, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm a bit extreme. But y'all know them white men racist. This American money talk, and them a few whores out of millions of black women that want think to do that. So people realize that business is business. Blacks treat white women like sluts to just check out white women like black cracks. LOL, some sick shit for the twisted people out there. Okay. Somebody else put, the face fucking action on this site is pretty awesome, but it's hard to relax and fully enjoy it as a black man because there is no doubt that the action is both racial and racist. From the commentary during the action to the description of the scenes to pretty much everything else, there's just no doubt that the point is to degrade the women as black women. If you don't think this action is racist, then you just don't know what racism is. The action is great, but especially if you're black, be prepared to feel the queasy feeling you get when you see some racist shit going down, because that's what it is. And I agree with this comment because that's how I felt. I didn't see anything, like I said, intriguing. I didn't see anything stimulating about it. It just gave you a very uncomfortable, it was an uncomfortable, unpleasant feeling, to watch black women just be degraded like that. Allowing themselves to be degraded like that, because they're not victims. They agreed to do this. It just felt very queasy. It did not, I did not see anything enthusiastic about it, Somebody else, Grand Diva, says the young women on Ghetto Gaggers are allowing themselves to be degraded by these white guys. It's not worth it, ladies. Somebody else says, people, you must understand that all porn is fake. What goes on behind the scenes is normal business. What happens on camera is a production, all staged and pretty much scripted. The women get paid to act like they're getting abused. Okay. The guys are getting paid too. Most of the guys are homosexual anyway. It's all just a show. Ghetto Gagger is just one that uses interracial male dominance as a theme. But regardless, it's all fake. Okay, and that could be a possibility to make it more interesting. But it's just the fact that we as black women are willing to succumb and agree to partake in this type of foolishness. And this is the reason why we don't get a lot of respect. And I know, unfortunately, a lot of black women have been blindsided by this. A lot of black women probably didn't even know too much about ghetto gagging existing. Like I said, you have to be somebody that's kind of into porn. You have to kind of be into that porn world to know that this exists, and it does go on, and it is happening. And a lot of sisters, it's not too many sisters, well, I can't say for sure statistic wise, but sisters that are not into porn, they don't think that black women would stoop this low to degrade themselves. And it's one of them things, you have to see it to believe it, because I that was one side of the world that I was totally blinded by. I didn't even think black women like that existed until I actually had to do my research on this, and I actually saw with my own eyes what these black women do. And it's not just young black women. I've seen older black women, like over 50, allow themselves to get ghetto gagged. So it just goes to show you, ladies, as much as we try to defend each other, we damn near almost can't, because it's a whole nother world that a lot of us are not looking into that black women are doing. And that's why you have to research this stuff. That way it could be addressed, because it's a lot of black women out here that are willing to degrade themselves by participating in ghetto gagging porn. Now, back to some of these comments at hand. Now isn't this a bunch of bull? All racist porn is trash, plain and simple. White, black, Asian, Hispanic. If it is degrading and you enjoy it, that means you are a sick individual. And I wish you would register yourself so that I know not to be your neighbor, friend, co-worker. If this is what porn is coming to, help us all. Disgusting. Let me see. Alright, do the whole thing. Doesn't matter if they have similar sites for Latinos or white girls. The fact that they're organized by race is inherently racist. I don't think you can argue differently. However, I do believe that the whole thing is intended to be just an act, and it's so psychologically effed up that it's somehow even more of a turn on. There's nothing like being horny and disgusted at the same time. If I ever met one of these ignorant white folks, I'd definitely try to kill them. Okay, well, that's going to a whole nother thing. Now, another comment says, this is actually a great site. Nothing is better than seeing an arrogant black BITCH get humbled. They start out cocky and end up getting the raw end of the deal. Oh, boy. Somebody else says, I have mixed feelings about this site. I like the site for its rareness, but I don't like the racial element of it. I don't believe that this is the girl's fault by humiliating themselves. I also believe that these white guys are weak or insecure. They won't even show their faces. That's funny. Yeah, I kind of noticed that. Not too many of them showed their faces. Overall, I like the site, but I hope that it's only an act and not racist. People need to make money, and these women are adults. So if they want to debase themselves to do it, then so be it. The motto must be, nothing succeeds like success, I guess. Okay, so we don't have to read all into it. But basically, you know, is that everybody has mixed feelings about this ghetto gagging. I would say, I like to say this. This just goes to show how much we as black women are lost in the sauce. We are lost by the cause. We really are. For any man to be able to approach you in the street, white or black, and say, look, we do porn production, we're looking for someone, we're looking for a female that would be willing to partake and do some racist sex scenes, you know, we'll pay you X amount of dollars, you know, this and that, you know. And for a woman to sit up there, because my thing is, I'm looking at the basics. For one, they had to approach her. They approach these women, okay? They basically, I'm sure they tell them exactly what they're getting into, because these people are not dumb. They may be nasty and sick, but they're not dumb. They're making sure that you know what they're going to do to you and how you're going to do it, so you can't sue them, so you can't file no rape charges. I'm sure they were very thorough with these females. Probably told them, hey, we're going to say some things. We got to turn it up to make it look more interesting, because this is what ghetto gagger is all about. We can't do this in a polite way to where we're gentle with you, to where we are finessing you. We're going to be rough. We're going to be harsh. You know, just go with the flow. That's part of the industry. We have to make it look good. We have to make it look real. So if you got to act like, you know, we're tormenting you, the more you look like you're suffering, the better the scene will be. So these women, they know what they signing up for. Okay, we're not going to do that, you know, oh, they didn't know, or that's racist, that's wrong. But again, these women are agreeing to it. These women are agreeing to it. So after these women have agreed to these guys in the street, they go into the place where the action is going to go down. So after they done already talked and discussed it, you take it a step further when you go to the place where they get ready to record the scene. So you have plenty of time to think about this and back down and say, you know what, I'm not that hard up for a dollar. I'm not about to degrade and demean myself like this to where my ass is spread all through the internet. Somebody can use this against me later. I can't get a real job. I may have children. I may run into this. I may want to get a husband one day. I don't want my wings spread all over the internet for people to use this against me and for me to gain a reputation from this. So a lot of these women have plenty of time to think. Okay? And I'm sure they made them sign contracts, because these white folks are not dumb. And like I said, it wasn't just scenes with white men. I seen black men also doing this to black women. So we're not just going to ride all the white people and make it seem like, oh, these sisters letting these white men do them all kind of way. No, these sisters is letting all kind of men do them all kind of way. Okay, so we're not just going to just place it on the white men like the white men are the only ones that's dogging the sisters doing this ghetto gagging, because I seen a lot of scenes with black men also doing the ghetto gagging. So there is black on black ghetto gagging scenes, and there's also white on black ghetto gagging scenes. Okay, so if you go on Google, you can type in either one, you will see both. Okay, because I had to do it. That's how I found out about this. Okay, so the fact that you're sitting there and you know what's about to happen and you didn't back down, you know what I mean? This just lets me know how low your self-esteem is, how less you really value yourself as a woman, to let some hillbillies or some thug Negroes or whatever, you know, not even know you, not know nothing of you, and for you to feel that comfortable with putting a foreign object in your mouth you know nothing about. 9 times out of 10, you ain't the only female that's getting ghetto gagged. And let me tell you something, they don't wear no condoms during these scenes. Alright, because if you think about it, if they wear condoms during these scenes, it defeats the purpose of the ghetto gagging. They want these females to gag and all of that so they can skeet all in their face. You know, these guys don't wear protection, because the point is to really degrade and humiliate these women by skeeting all over their face, creaming all over them, nutting all over their face. That's what makes the porn more interesting. Porn is not clean, okay? If you're going to become a porn star, you got to be willing to get down and get dirty. You got to let men who don't know you nut in your face. You got to let men who don't know you deep throat you. You're not their woman. You're not somebody they care about, so they're going to rough you up and treat you however they want to treat you. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to ask you, am I doing it too hard? Am I going too rough? Is this painful? They don't ask any of them questions. So you got to take it however you get it. And like I said, you can tell the way these women make these noise is not a sexual pleasurable noise. Matter of fact, these women don't even climax during ghetto gagging. They don't climax at all. So you can tell these women who are agreeing to the ghetto gagging porn, they're not even getting off on it at all. It's basically the men that are getting all the pleasure out of raw dogging these females and treating them like, you know, stray dogs, like, you know, like straight female stray dogs, you know. And again, this is not to make these women sound like victims, because they agreed to this. How can y'all leave these sex scenes knowing the man a nutted all over you and not feel like Mississippi trash? It's bananas to me, the psyche of a lot of us as black women, and our level of low intelligence and low self-esteem, that we have resorted to allowing this type of treatment all over for a couple of dollars. And I'm sure they're not getting a lot of money performing these sex scenes. You know why? Because so many black women are doing it. They know they're going to find another low self-esteem, low common denominator sisters that's going to agree, okay, yeah, I'll do it. If more women was rejecting it and not accepting it, they would have to increase the price. A lot of these females, they probably only getting $200 to $500. And hell, I can get that just doing working jobs at home on a computer, doing work at home jobs. But it just really displays to you how we as black women have really depreciated and value. And this is the reason why a lot of black men do not really have a lot of respect for us. When they are constantly being exposed to these ratchet ghetto shenanigans that these black women are participating in, it's unfortunate, but it reflects on all of us as black women. So even those of us who are trying to live right and do right and make good decisions out of life, it's unfortunate that we're being overshadowed by the ratchet and the ghetto ones. So unfortunately, you know, like I said, it was definitely a humiliating experience. I feel for these black women, not feel for them as in sympathizing with them, like I want to give them a hug, anything like that, but I feel for them as far as your self-esteem is that low that you are willing to allow a man, especially a man outside of your race. Not that it's better if it was a black man doing it to you, but it's even worse with the fact that you're allowing a man of another color to degrade you and treat you like you were a slave, or like a sex slave on the plantation back in 1964. But anyway, y'all, like I said, do your research. You don't have to go by what I say, but I think this is something, unfortunately, more black women need to be aware of and understand that this does happen in the community. I really don't think a lot of black women really understood that this exists, or they knew it existed but never want to touch upon it, because it does push the narrative that black women that have been preaching for years that black women do not respect themselves, that black women do not have any integrity. So that may be the reason why a lot of black women have not spoken on this, have not addressed it. But I decided to address it because black women need to be aware that there are black women out here doing this. You may have a sister that may do this. You may have a female cousin. You may have a girlfriend that's doing this, so or is considering doing this. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. I'm going to let y'all do the rest of y'all research. Let me know what y'all think about this ghetto gagging porn business. And definitely, I want to hear from y'all. I want to know y'all opinion on this. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. This is your Diva and Knowledge Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. So I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Again, ladies, I need y'all to start subscribing at Mocha's Ladies Lounge. I need at least 100 subscribers over there so I can start giving some content specifically for women. And I'm not going to start giving my content till I at least get 100 or more people that's subbing over there. So ladies, please sub. I got a lot of information I got to give y'all, and y'all are sleeping on me. Y'all not subscribing to the Mocha's Ladies Lounge channel. Okay, not only subscribe, get 2 or 3 of your girlfriends to subscribe. Okay, so anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. Y'all have a good one. I'm signing off.